So Victor Davis Hanson has given his take on Joe Kent's resignation, which so clearly seems to be cynical. He resigned from the administration saying, I'm against the war with Iran. The Jews, Israel pushed us into it. Quite sick that the guy who clearly seems to have all kinds of crazed conspiracies about Israel killing Charlie Kirk and all the rest, joining on to Tucker Carlson's podcast, that he had such a position in the administration. But regardless, he's now resigned. It may well be that actually we're starting to see he was being under investigation for leaking information and perhaps he was just trying to get ahead. But either way, he seems to be, what his real intentions seem to be coming out. And I want to show you what Victor Davis Hanson said, not just about him, but also about the nature of this Iran war and why, contrary to this being something reckless, actually he sees President Trump in many ways comparing him to the way Churchill behaved in World War II, seeing an imminent threat and dealing with it. I want to show you this clip of him on Fox News, and then I'm going to show you a separate clip on the Daily Signal where he talks about Joe Kent and really unpacks what happened with him, because it's a good analysis. Watch.
1939, Churchill had warned everybody about the threat of fascism on the continent, Nazis, Italians, and Japanese, and nobody listened to him. And then after the war broke out, nobody called on him, and then finally he came in, and from May 10th of 1940, he was saying to everybody, these people want to take over the whole continent. And we weren't in. The Russians were on the side of the Germans at that time under the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, and he was the voice in the wilderness. And that's what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to say to the American Democratic Party, what's left of it, you don't understand what's going on here. You Europeans don't understand. You people in the Middle East don't fully understand what this regime is about. And when people say, well, we didn't have an imminent threat, we didn't have an imminent threat when they took our hostages, when they blew up our barracks. Nobody said we better attack Iran because we need an imminent threat when they blew up our embassy. They always acted spontaneously with surprises, and we never knew what they were going to do. So the idea that you have a telegraphed imminent threat, it's not the nature of that regime. It's lying, disguise, and dissimulation, and that's their pattern for the last 47 years. But nobody's taken them serious. Every president said, we're going to deal with this, all 7 of them, and all 7 of them did not. And then all 7 of them, when they got out of office, said, I regret that I didn't. And he's the first one that warned the world and said it's not going to be one of those presidents.
And I'm pretty sure I know what Sean Hannity's going to say. He's going to say that Steve Witkoff said that the Iranian negotiators, days before the Iran war begins, said that they were taunting Witkoff and the Americans, that they were very close to getting a nuclear bomb. So the fact is, the intention is so clearly there in their rhetoric, it's in their deeds, their actions, what they're working towards. They scale back the nuclear progress that they made in the 12-day war, but then they've shown there's intelligence. They're showing intentions to rebuild ASAP. So at some point, one has to say, are we just going to allow this to keep happening and festering? And at some point, they'll probably cross over the line of nuclear immunity, as it's called. We got to stop them, especially now when there's this point of weakness, where there's this point at which we've made some progress in the 12-day war. It's immoral to just let things slide. People say it's an escalation going to war. No, it's an escalation not to go to war. It's de-escalation to go to war and stop this. Especially also the way it's treating its own people. Also, we know for certain it's military actions against Israel as well, trying to destroy Israel. That's obviously clearly their pit stop, and then going towards the Western America. Israel is the first stop, then they're going to go to the Western America. They say it, death to Israel, death to England, death to America. And if you can't see that you say, well, they just got a problem with Israel, but it's nothing to... You're completely delusional. This is their Islamist ideology. We created a whole documentary on JTV Plus called Iran's Holy War, understanding the theology that animates the regime. Fascinating stuff. You can check it out on j-tv.plus. I want to show you the second clip of Victor Davis Hanson talking about Joe Kent's resignation, unpacking it. Before I do that, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button on our channel. Please like our videos, comment, hype. All these things really gets things into the algorithm, get the video out there, get the word out there, help us to grow. It really, really is your way in which you can partner with us in growing this. And all it is just a quick click of the button. So thank you so much for doing that. Let's have a watch of what Victor Davis Hanson said about Joe Kent's resignation.
Counterterrorism official Joe Kent previously argued he quit. He stepped down, previously argued Iran was a threat. to the USA. So he resigned from his national security post over opposition to military action against Iran, follows earlier public statements in which he warned about threats posed by the country and supported striking its ballistic missile and nuclear capabilities. In announcing his resignation, Kent said Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation and said the war was started, quote, due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby.
I do admire him. He was a Green Beret combat veteran. He worked for Tulsi Gabbard. So I don't know what her attitude, because she has made it very clear she doesn't believe in forever wars. This is not a forever war, but I don't understand imminent threat. So what I would ask, with all due respect to Joe Kent, is would you have supported did you support the Soleimani assassination? And was that an imminent threat? I think it was, but there was no precluding. They just saw him there and they knew that he had blood on his hands. When? Well, almost a decade earlier, more than a decade, when he was responsible for the shape charge shipments. He came up with the idea, I think. It killed, they say 600 Americans. People in the military will tell you 2,000 and more wounded. Should we have hit them then? Should we have hit them when they organized the Tanzania? Clinton didn't go after Iran. Tanzania and Kenya. How about, I don't know, Cobalt Towers? Those people were organized and funded probably by Iran. How about the embassy in Beirut, the 241 people in the barracks? So they've done this. It's not that, I don't know what they've just been doing it and doing it and doing it. And they'll continue to do it. And at some point, every president said, they're not going to get a bomb on my watch. And they get more missiles and get closer to the bomb. And finally, one president said, I'm done with them. I'll negotiate with them, but they won't want to negotiate. So all he said was, just don't use the missiles, don't build the missiles, and don't get a bomb, and just live peacefully. Just be like Dubai or the UAE, or Kuwait. They have militaries to protect themselves, but they're not trying to be aggressive and take over the Middle East with an ideology. And they said, nope.
We'll be back to the video in just a moment, but I have a really important message for you. This Passover, which is coming up very soon, while many of us are preparing for the holiday, setting our tables, buying food, getting ready to celebrate, there are tens of thousands of families in Israel who simply cannot afford a basic meal. And this year, it's even harder. With everything that's going on, food insecurity has only gotten worse. But there's an organization that has not stopped, not for a single day. U.S Israel. Every day they are rescuing food that would otherwise go to waste and delivering hot meals and fresh produce to families all across the country, making sure that no one is left behind. And the truth is, they can't do this alone. What's amazing is that $180 can provide 130 hot meals. That's real families, real people, sitting down to a dignified Passover meal because of you. So this Passover, let's not stop either. Please join the mission to help provide meals to the people of Israel that really need it. Let's make a difference. Please click on the link below in the video description and donate to U.S Israel. Thank you so much.
Not going to do it. And so Trump said, okay. And we're in, 16 days, 17 days. We've tragically lost 14 people, 13.
13.
And I understand we're spending a couple of $1 billion a day. But in the long history of warfare, if Trump is able to, as I said earlier, there's three outcomes. There's the Venezuela solution. A strong person comes in and works with us and gets rid of the theocracy and may or may not transition. And then there's the popular uprising, the most desirable, where you so waste their assets. And now we're doing tactical strikes on individual Republican Guard checkpoints and things. We just killed Laranjani. His daughter, remember, was a professor at Emory University.
Yeah.
They hate us so much, and we think we're so decadent that they send their children to be educated and then hope they can be professors at our schools. And the third is that, you might as well talk about that in a larger context. The third is that they do so much damage that they feel that they have neutered Iran for a decade. That is not a very enviable choice, in my opinion. We're getting very close, I think, to pushing them over the ledge and letting. We're just wiping out. Israel is wiping out the command and control, and we are pretty much destroying their assemblies, factories, their military assets. And at some point, I think the people will take it in their own hands, especially if something simultaneously happens in Cuba. So I think would be very dangerous to stop now, is what I'm suggesting.
Well, and likewise, Victor, maybe not likewise, would it have been dangerous not to do anything at all? I still cannot get my arms around the thought that sooner or later, and if it's either, that's true. It will be sooner or will be later, but it will be. They would have done something catastrophic to the U.S.
They reached their apex of influence and power during the Biden years. They basically ran the Red Sea. They took their transport planes and they supplied the Houthis with thousands of missiles and drones. And the Houthis, under Biden, controlled the Red Sea. He didn't do anything. They attacked, I don't know what I've heard 300, they attacked 200 to 300 American installations in Syria and Iraq, the Iranians through their proxies. We didn't even do anything. And everybody's put their finger in the wind and said, they are the strong people and the Americans will be out soon. Let's not get near the Americans. The Abraham's Accords stopped. And then Hezbollah bragged that they had 200,000, I don't know if that was true, missiles and rockets. And they were going to have a ring of fire. They said it every week. We're going to have a ring of fire. We're going to blast them on the north, and the Houthis will come across the desert, and then Hamas. And they thought they had 3 Iranian proxies, plus these people in Syria and Iraq. And everybody in the Arab world was terrified. And Joe Biden said, please, please, please get back in the Iran deal. We have to. No, we're not going to do it. Okay, well, if you don't want to get back in the Iran deal, then we're going to lift all the sanctions. How does that? And let you make them another $100 billion on oil. That's what we're going to do to you. And that's what he did. And that was their highest point of influence in their 43, 44, 45-year history. And they had Chinese and Russian. China was knee-deep in Iran. Russia was running Syria. And North Korea was supplying all of the nuclear technology via China. And there was no stopping it. And so we knew what it was going to be. And Trump came in and he tried the 10-day, did the 10-day strikes. He did the 24-hour stuff when he thought he had nuclearized them. He thought he sent them a signal and don't continue. We set you back on your nuclear. And what did they do? They shifted their attention to building another 1,000 ballistic missiles.
Well, when the even the Biden administration says don't has to have a follow-up.
I don't know what Kent means when they tried to kill Trump. They tried to kill Pompeo. They put a hit out on John Bolton. They tried to kill the Saudi ambassador in Washington, D.C. This is aside from what they're doing. They just killed 30,000 people. They butchered them. And we were told that there was genocide and all this going on in Gaza was a war zone. This wasn't a war zone. They just took and went in and slaughtered their own people. So there was a lot of provocations. And I don't see why a person joins an administration when you know what the administration is going to do, because the internet, as we're reminded now, Jack, is awash with clips of Donald Trump going back to. Have you seen these things?
I have.
30 years.
Yeah.
We've got to take out right at 1980. He should have taken out Iran after the hostages. You got to take Carg Island. He's been saying it for years. And he was never a MAGA isolationist. He never said that. He said forever wars that were fought stupidly. He was a Jacksonian from the get-go. No better friend, no worse enemy, don't tread on me. We don't want to go in there, but you keep pushing it, Soleimani, ISIS, Baghdadi, keep pushing it, keep cutting people's heads off, keep killing Americans. We're going to hit you. And then we're going to say, make you great, bye, see you, wouldn't want to be you, and we don't want to get in an endless ground war. That was what he always said he was going to do. I don't understand it.
So Victor Davis Hanson is clearly being very generous in his assessment. He's just posing very sensible, sane questions. And I'll ask you, the viewer, as well, what would be your response to that argument? To say that Trump is acting irrationally, that he's overly escalating things unnecessarily. How can you look at all the evidence about Iran's actions, its ideology, how close they were coming towards all the things their rhetoric was saying they wants to do, and to say, no, Trump's wrong to do this? I think the particularly humorous part that others have pointed out is him saying that Israel somehow forced Trump's hand. You think people can force Trump's hand? Israel should protect its interests. America should protect their interests. That's what they were doing. And yes, for those who can't quite appreciate this, Israel and America's interests are massively intertwined and aligned, because they are two extremely close allies with a lot of shared values. And as if it isn't clear already to you, Israel is the first pit stop on the Islamist tyrannical mindset of who they want to eliminate. They have this phrase in Islamist circles, first comes Saturday, then comes Sunday. Saturday being the Jewish Sabbath, Sunday being the Christian Sabbath. I like to remind them that, well, what comes even before that is Friday, which is the Islamic Sabbath. But I say that slightly tongue-in-cheek. We're not looking, no one wants to see destruction of massive swathes of people, but of ideologies and evil regimes. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that these evil regimes and people who are against both Israel and both, around the world and in America, who say, I'm America first. One of the things they love to say is, well, it's not so much my issue with the Jews, it's just, it's Zionism, it's Israel. Some of them are overt about their hatred of Jews as well. But others say, no, it's just Zionism and Israel that's the problem. Judaism has nothing to do with that. We decided it's high time to debunk that myth in our new JTV Plus documentary, Zionism and Judaism, The False Separation. You can have a watch the trailer right now. And if you want to watch the full thing, you can just click on the link below in the video description. I'm not against Judaism, I'm just against Zionism.
It's not Jewish, it's Zionism.
Yeah. Judaism and Zionism are completely separate.
Judaism is a faith, Israel is a state.
You can be Jewish without being a Zionist.
Zionism and Judaism is totally diametrically opposed.
I'm sure you've heard this before, from protesters, from politicians, from even well-meaning people trying to navigate the Israel-Palestine debate. But I'm here to tell you that this separation is complete nonsense. It's a comfortable lie. The kind of lie that sounds intelligent but collapses the moment you actually open this book, the Torah, the Bible, and study Judaism on its own terms. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to tackle this myth head on. We'll actually look inside the Torah and see how in the very first book, Genesis, there's no mention of law or religion. It's all centered on the promise of a specific land to a specific nation. We'll trace how Judaism, not modern politics, but Judaism itself, is structured around one obsessive, relentless, undeniable claim: the land of Israel belongs to the Jews. We'll reveal why the building of a nation in the land of Israel is an indispensable part of the project of Judaism. Why Judaism is not a religion, it's the divine project of a nation in a land. We'll discover how the Torah preemptively answered the colonization accusation that wouldn't fully materialize for another 3,000 years. We'll explore why, if the land is so central, Jews had to spend thousands of years in global exile. We'll unpack what Zionism actually means, and how anti-Zionism doesn't just contradict Israeli policy, it contradicts the fundamental architecture of Judaism itself. For some people, this is going to be uncomfortable viewing, but by the end, we'll prove beyond any reasonable doubt that Judaism and Zionism are inseparable. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.